So welcome back, everyone, to our third hashtag Hire Me 2023 Employer Panel series. And this panel is hosted by BCJobs.ca. So my name is Chelsea, and I'll be your BC Jobs host for today's panel. So a little housekeeping first. If anyone needs or prefers closed captioning, you can click below at the bottom of your screen. On my screen, there's three little dots, and if you click on that, it will say captions. And so if you click on captions, it should come up with caption settings, so you can choose what language you want in. I'm just going to mute a couple microphones here that are on, because I hear some background noise. So if you need any closed captioning, it depends if you have like the mobile version or the web version, which is the Zoom that I'm on. It has three dots at the bottom. So there's an option for captions, and then you can just choose your settings for which language you like the captions in. So that's information about closed captioning. Another thing I would like to do today is I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather virtually is the unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, whose relationship with the land continues to this day. So for those of you who are new to these panels, every month we have three special panelists from various sectors join us for a little Q&A and what's new with their organizations, and to talk a bit about the job market and hiring in BC. So we are proud that BC Jobs is Western Canada's biggest online jobs board, and to stay in the loop about companies that are hiring, you can also check out our Innovators podcast to learn more about what industry leaders are saying about the job market. So before we get started here today, I just want to encourage our audience to type your questions for the panelists into the chat, and we will get to your questions later on in the panel today. I'll try to get through all the questions that we can. So when we get to that point, I'll just let everybody know this is our Q&A period, and so you can put your question in the chat throughout the panel today, or during our Q&A time, you can raise your hand, or you can put your question in the chat for me to read out. So I'll give you more information when we get to that point. And today we will also be offering a job candidate pitch event right before our audience Q&A. So for this little event, 3 candidates will be selected for a 30-second pitch to tell our guest speakers about yourself and your experience. And the person with the best pitch will receive a 30-minute resume consultations with BC Jobs. So there's an incentive. I know pitching can be a very nervous thing. It's, there's a lot of people on here today. We've got, 28 people. But if you're feeling confident, you want to practice those rusty public speaking skills, then you can feel free to nominate yourself in the chat. And I'll give you more instructions on how to do that, how to nominate yourself later when we have our little pitch events. I'm not going to pick people randomly, so don't worry, you're safe. So that's a little bit about our agenda today. So let's get started with some introductions. I'm going to pass the virtual mic over to Simon Chela, the Data Management Manager at ICBC. Simon, it's a pleasure to have you with us today, and we'd love to know more about yourself and ICBC.
All right. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So, like I said, my name is Simon Chela. I am a manager at ICBC. I've been working at ICBC for quite some time. I'm not going to tell the years because that's going to reveal my age, but I've been here for quite some time. And I joined ICBC as a senior data analyst. So I'm mostly working with databases, creating reports and analytics. And then over the years, I became a solution leader that's mostly working with different streams within ICBC, advising them on technology and direction on data analytics and all that. In fact, I was involved in deploying Tableau at ICBC. I think it was in 2017. Currently, I'm managing a team of about 14 people, comprising data architects, data engineers, business systems analysts, data quality analysts, and data visualization analysts. So what we do is mostly acquiring data from source. We've got a lot of source systems, Claim Center, which is where you report claims to ICBC, and Policy Center, And then we ingest that data into our big data cluster and also in EDW, which is our legacy data warehouse. We transform that data and also curate it for analytics and reporting. Sorry, I missed one very important thing. I shouldn't assume that everybody knows what ICBC is. ICBC, we are a crown corporation that provides insurance services, mostly it's only auto insurance services to our British Columbian customers. So I think a lot of you have interacted with ICBC because we provide, insurance, but also we provide driver licensing services and, vehicle registration. Of course, we service claims once you have a policy with us. So that's mostly our business. I have my colleague, Mahfuza, who I'll pass over to introduce herself.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for that great introduction, Simon.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Mahfuza Anam from ICBC. She's a senior recruitment specialist. So nice to have you on today, Mahfuza, and we'd love to know a bit more about you and what you do at ICBC.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I am Mahfuza. I am a senior recruitment specialist here at ICBC. My pronouns are she, her. And I started working with ICBC as a recruitment specialist, then moved my way up as a senior recruitment specialist. I help, Simon, Chela, and other hiring managers to hire for our IT division. I also wanted to kind of take a minute or two to kind of quickly talk about why you should be interested to join ICBC. Simon did mention what ICBC does, but I just wanted to also kind of give you an overview of what we have to offer. ICBC, we are voted as one of the BC's top employer. We do have a respectful, diverse, and inclusive workplace. One of the ways in which we show our commitment to this diverse and inclusive environment is through our employee resource group. It's kind of like an active network that provides community and awareness, raising from women in leadership, disability, inclusion, LGBTQIA+. We also have like a fair and competitive pay for your hard work. And we do also have a benefits package, a comprehensive one that includes your extended health and dental benefits. We kind of enjoy a mix of remote and on-site working. So it's kind of a hybrid working model, and we do promote healthy work-life balance. And we have a lot of internal growth and opportunities, training that you can leverage from. We do also offer co-ops and internship program opportunities to students, undergrads, recent college graduates, where they can come join us to gain industry exposure and knowledge. And we have converted some of those co-op and internship programs to permanent full-time opportunity as well. And last but not the least, I guess at ICBC, not only just in our IT division, we have like a fun team and great people to work with.
What a fantastic introduction, Mahfuza. Thank you so much. And if you have those links for the co-op programs, I think our job candidates today will be interested in checking those links out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, perfect. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Jessica Fehr. She is the Strategic Talent Attraction Specialist at BC Transit. So the floor is all yours, Jessica, to tell us a bit about what you do and what BC Transit's all about.
Great. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here. My name is Jessica Fehr. I usually go by Jess. Jessica's so formal. But I'm a strategic talent attraction specialist here at BC Transit. Been here for about 2 years now. A little bit about BC Transit for those of you who don't know. I mean, I'm sure lots of people have used our buses and things in the past, but we are a crown corporation that is responsible for public transportation across the province of BC. We transport more than 57 million riders in communities across the province each year. Our main office is in Victoria, but we also do have some different bus depots sort of across Vancouver Island as well. The bulk of what I do in my role is really just partnering strategically with leaders and looking at their upcoming positions, doing full cycle recruitment, that sort of thing. The main groups that I work with, we kind of have it split up between the different strategic talent attraction specialists. So we each have a different portfolio. But the main groups that I work with are people and culture. So when you think of people and culture, it's positions like people and culture advisors, maybe, payroll and benefits administrators, anything that kind of makes the people and culture group really go smoothly. And I also work with our asset management team. So that's anything from engineers, project managers, analysts, anything associated with like our fleet electrification program. Obviously, that's a big thing that we have going on right now. So lots happening. And I think a lot of people, when they hear BC Transit, they think transit operators, and that's really the only thing that they hire for. But we hire for so many more other positions. We have, finance, IT. I saw a lot of people are looking at, doing data analyst work, which we definitely have at BC Transit. So the list goes on. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into it. But yeah, and I'm also proud to say that we are a top employer as well for this year and for the last 3 years. So that's great to see.
Wonderful. Thanks for that fabulous introduction, Jessica. So now that we know our panelists a little bit better, I've got a few of my own questions that I'm going to start us off with before we move over to the pitch event that I mentioned earlier and our audience Q&A. So these next questions are geared more towards industry changes and just general information about your organization. So I'll start off with Simon. So ICBC, it's a bit of a household name here in BC with nearly 5,000 employees across the province. What are some exciting initiatives on the horizon for ICBC this year?
We do have a lot of initiatives at ICBC. It's mostly supporting our business stakeholders internally within ICBC. Just like Jess said, we also have different departments and divisions within ICBC. We've got our own HR system, we've got finance department or division, and we've got information services division, which is where I come from, which is mostly supplying or providing services to the whole of ICBC and our customers on IT needs. That's including data. I would say there are quite a lot of initiatives, but the ones that stand out is mostly, we are part of the government, so that means we are always behind in certain things. So cloud is one of those things that we are in the process of embarking on. We haven't really made that final decision on which cloud vendor we'll be working with, but it's an initiative that is actually in the works. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very interesting. All right, so my next question is for Jess. So BC Transit is what I used in my hometown growing up, actually. In terms of careers, most people think of bus drivers, like you mentioned, right? But what are some other career opportunities that BC Transit offers? I know you mentioned a couple departments, but are there any like specific roles that are really being hired at the moment?
Yeah, I would say that we really hire for all different positions. Any sort of office position that you could think of in any organization, we likely are hiring for. And we are going through a big area of growth right now, lots of new projects that need specialized positions to obviously help get those off the ground. And not to discount bus drivers, we definitely need a lot of transit operators at all times because we have so many different routes, but there's such a wide variety of other positions that we hire for too. I could just list off a couple. I mean, we have, I mentioned fleet electrification. So every job that you could think of for that, really, really important, obviously, in the next 10 years that we're getting our fleet electrified. So people to work on the infrastructure. So think of like charging stations for our new battery electric buses. We have, fleet technical services, capital projects. So some of our really large infrastructure projects that we have on the go, like bus shelters and transit exchanges, that sort of thing. We have a real estate team, warehouse and operations. Like I mentioned, finance as well. So like accountants, people to work in procurement, IT is always growing as well. It's a really exciting team to work on. Analysts, project managers in IT. I think I saw someone in the comments is looking at a PM role in IT. We definitely have those available. Yeah, and then, you know, people in culture, like I mentioned, we are always growing as well. Abilities management, learning and development, operations, controllers, the list goes on. We really try to keep our website updated. So if anybody's curious, our website is just jobs.bctransit.com, but I can put it in the chat, and those are always updated with all of our jobs that we have coming up or on the go. So
perfect. So you really have a little bit of everything, it sounds like.
sprinkle of everything.
Sprinkle of everything.
Yes.
Love it. All right, my next question is for Mahfuza. How would you describe the company culture at ICBC?
Oh, wow. How much time do we have? Because I can go on and on and on. But ICBC, we really pride ourselves in, even when like I talk to candidates and they ask me this question, and I always tell them that we are a respectful employer. We respect our employees. There's a lot of work-life balance that we talk about, and we make sure we encourage our candidates to have that work-life balance, because it is important to have that time off for your family and your close ones. We do have a inclusive and diverse environment. Like within the teams and departments, you would see people from all across. So we really pride ourselves in that. There's a lot of internal growth and opportunity, and we kind of encourage people and kind of carve a path where they can grow in their career. So that's the kind of culture that we promote actively.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. And my next question is for Simon. What are some big industry changes for the world of insurance? That's a big question, I know. Oh, you're on mute, Simon. Sorry.
There's no Zoom meeting without that question, right?
This happens every time, don't worry.
Yeah. So I would say mostly, I mean, there's a lot of change. There are a lot of changes happening right now in the world because of, AI is one of them. But I would say AI is kind of a new area which we are getting into. But I would say the one that I would say has been, coming up is mostly leveraging data to make business decisions. And using data for analytics. I worked on a pilot recently, which was the telematics pilot. Piloting, helping to find out, for example, driver behavior, because one of the key things that we do as an insurance company is to try to limit our costs by, promoting safe driving, because the safer the driving, the less claims you get. So one of the initiatives was this pilot was to see if you are monitoring drivers, how they drive, do they really pay attention? So we had two kind of groups. One, it was a blind group. They didn't know that, we are capturing information, and the other one knew. And we actually did this pilot for 2 years, and actually the results were very promising. So, using that data, telematics data from the vehicles, we brought it into our big data cluster, analyzed that data, and created some analytics out of it, and provided a report actually, and it was this pilot was actually in partnership with the government, just to make sure that in the future, if we do want to go through a similar approach, using telematics as a tool to work on our insurance policies, but also even our driving, because ICBC does have a department that works with municipalities on road safety. So that could be something that we could leverage to help our drivers and policyholders to practice safe driving. So I would say mostly in a nutshell, data and analytics. Yeah.
Well, that's very reassuring. I fully support safer roads, road safety. So very interesting stuff. My next question is for Jessica. What have been big industry changes in the world of transit the past few years and in the near future? I know you just mentioned the buses are getting electrified in BC. Is that like BC wide, or
Yeah, so it's a government mandated,
Mm.
move to create more sustainability. So that's one of the probably biggest and most obvious shifts for us, because obviously it's a lot to, come up with all the infrastructure to support that. We also need now skilled labor. So think of, heavy duty mechanics. They're able to work on a heavy duty bus, but now we're switching to total different, to a battery electric bus, and maybe they need to work on those skills, or maybe we need to hire other people that are more specialized. So it's a lot of shifts and a lot of changes, and I'm sure that other transit organizations are sort of dealing with that right now too. But we are also, switching to, electronic fare collection too, rather than you get on the bus, you give the change. Now it's, you just tap your credit card, and that's, I think, improved a lot of accessibility too for people to be able to get on the bus and use those services more regularly. And then another thing that I think I know that we're working towards, but I'm sure will be sort of a major trend, is Indigenous reconciliation, expanding to support those more remote areas so that we can provide routes for, local nations to use, and just keep expanding that way. And then, kind of just using technology and leveraging technology to schedule our buses, to actually use that real-time optimization to kind of base it off of passenger demand. So it's not just this bus is coming every 5 minutes or every hour, like it's actually looking at what people use the routes and then kind of figuring out what's the best way of going about that. So
really cool. I'm excited to see the future changes with BC Transit. Very exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, the small towns need it. All right, my last question is for Mahfuza. What are the different types of roles that you hire for, and how many open positions are there across the province right now?
Oh, last year we did hire a lot. We did hire some of the popular roles were developer junior, intermediate, seniors. We did hire some data engineers, some security architect positions, some manager delivery IT roles. This year across the province, I don't have like the number back of my hand, but I can say a ballpark number would be around 45 positions that are still open. But I know we have a forecast for about another 20 to 25 new roles coming up. So, and that would be like for the year and might come in waves. And the roles that we would be hiring for would be developers around the application area. We do also have some business system analyst positions, some quality analyst roles. There might be a couple of manager positions. So it's kind of a mixed bag. And yeah, we mostly always post our roles externally on our career site, which is ICBC.com. And it's pretty much updated. So anyone who's interested can take a look and apply.
Fantastic.
And not to mention the adjusters and examiners, because
Yes.
we do have a very I would say huge demand for those, because it's a very high turnover, I would say, area within our corporation. So yeah, we hire a lot of adjusters and examiners.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. And if you have any links, Mahfuza or Jessica or Simon, feel free to pop them into the chat if you feel that they would benefit our job candidates today. So if you have career pages or anything like that, feel free to pop it in. So thank you so much for answering all of my burning questions. Now it's time to know a bit more about our job candidates who are here in the panel. So what I've got next is a little pitch event where you can nominate yourself in the chat to pitch yourself in 30 seconds to our panelists here. So how to do that? You can put your name, location, and industry in the chat, and I'll just pick the first 3 people who nominate themselves, and you can pitch yourself to our panelists. Now there is a little prize if you pitch yourself today, because I know, it takes a lot of courage to pitch yourself in front of 25 people. So you'll receive a 30-minute resume consultation with BC Jobs for pitching yourself today. So I hope that is a great little bit incentive to nominate yourself. And then after our pitch event, we can open up the floor to just general questions from you guys. So I see we've got some names coming here in the chat. So perfect. Looking forward to getting to know you a bit better. So we've got Nitin, data analytics from Victoria. So Nitin, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Feel free to unmute yourself. Excellent. I can see you on screen,
Yeah.
and we're looking forward to your 30-second pitch.
Yeah, you said it right. My name is Nitin, and I've been working with the United Health Group, healthcare giant, for last 7-8 years. And I have experience of data analytics for last 10-12 years. Like Simon mentioned, I also worked on a project which is behavior analysis on providers. So I was into fraud, waste, abuse, and error of the claims, medical claims. And we implemented a project of behavior analysis on the providers to make sure that they do not submit fraudulent claims. So it was just analysis to mention them that we have analytic tools that if you submit fraud claims, we will stop your claims. So it was the behavior analysis, how that little mentioning about the tool that we have changes their behavior. So we were able to save millions of dollars because of that. And yeah, it was worth looking forward, and it was a big learning.
Thank you for that very interesting pitch, Nitin. I guess I'll come up with a follow-up question, and maybe one of our panelists may have a follow-up question for you as well. What would be the ideal role for you?
For me, I've been working as a data analyst, individual contributor as well, and I've been managing a team of 3 or 4 people for last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can work individually as well. I love data. I love exploring, making a meaning out of the data. So I've been working on the Tableau, SAS, SQL, little bit of Python as well. Yeah, so it's like working on data, large, making a chunk of big piece of information into meaningful data is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the reports and all, I love that.
Awesome. I'm just going to maybe Simon's got a follow-up question for you as well. Sorry, put you on the spot, Simon.
No, yeah, I hope my mic is on.
It is.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say thanks for your background, Nitin. That sounds very exciting, and I see that you have a lot of good skills that ICBC uses. We have Tableau. We have a lot of data, huge data, and then also we do work with our I would say advanced analytics team that do a lot of data science. So we also deploy models in our systems to detect a lot of things. I'm not going to go into the details of that. So yeah, we have a very good data science background, but also a data analytics background. So yeah, feel free to apply. I think we have a lot of a few positions online regarding data, whether it's data engineering, data analytics, and data quality analysts and all that. So if you can apply and connect with us on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Sure. I have already sent you an invitation.
Thank you.
The name looks familiar. So I was a part of advanced analytics lab in my previous organization.
Okay.
And yeah, looking forward to work here as well. Utilize my knowledge and background in Canada. But yeah, applying jobs and all. So I am a student here. I'm working as a research assistant under a professor who is working on fraudulent claims of mutual fund and all. So when we apply for these kind of jobs, so we never get a response or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's because we are new here, or something is different than the place I've been working on.
Yeah, maybe I'll pass it over to the other panelists to answer that. But my experience is that It's one of those things where it's applying but also showing up, just like you've done now, because connecting a name to a face goes a long way. I've had a lot of our I would say employees that I've met on the career fair, pre-COVID, even post-COVID. So just talking to us, coming to the career fairs, attending the sessions, I think it does, because we get a lot of resumes. So, referrals help us a lot. Seeing somebody in person presenting themselves also help us a lot. So that's all I can say.
And maybe I should, tweak my resume a little more.
That helps too. Absolutely. Yeah.
Nitin, I'm going to get you to save that question for our general Q&A. Maybe Jessica and Mahfuza have more to add on, but I'm just going to jump over to the next pitch candidate. So thank you so much for your great pitch, Nitin. And our next candidate is Rebecca. So Rebecca, feel free to pop on your camera and unmute yourself. And we're looking forward to hearing your pitch about yourself.
Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I am really sorry that for the video or the camera, because I'm not at the best of my presentation. I'm not very well presented right now, so I'm absolutely sorry about that. So yes, I come with 18 plus years of experience. I have my hands on to customer service, retention, sales, project management has been my experience, the longest experience that I've had. Like I've worked on the waterfall, the SDLC, agile, and then taking care of the recruitment process, identifying the skills, and the quarterly demand forecasting, the resource planning. So yeah, I've got my experience in almost, I will not say in almost, but in most of the phases and sectors of project management. Project management itself is huge and it's vast. So yeah, I am PMP certified, and I would like to learn more about how the business works in Canada. Of course, it's a little different than what it was back in my home country. Well, yes, I come from India, and I've recently moved to Canada. Well, it's been a while though. But then, yes, I've moved to Canada, and I'm actively looking for better opportunities for me, specifically in the project management, because I've got most of my experience in and around project management. So, yes.
Fantastic pitch, Rebecca. And you know what? I'm going to maybe throw you over to Jessica for a follow-up question.
Yeah, absolutely. Apologies if you can hear my dog in the background. He's freaking out, but
all dogs are welcome.
Okay, good. Awesome. Well, thank you for your pitch, Rebecca. That was awesome. Did I hear you right that you said you are PMP certified?
Yes, Jess.
That's great. Okay, perfect. So, and then hearing a little bit more about some of your skills, it sounds like you're more interested in project management, sort of in the IT side of things. I know you mentioned waterfall and kind of agile technology. Is that sort of where you're looking to aim?
See, I would not say aim, but then I've worked in and around the IT industry, of course. But then I am open for any domain that will come, because somewhere or the other is going to be a new learning for me. So I'm good at grasping things. So in fact, if I learn something new, that will add on to my experience, and I'll have a wider exposure to the industry, the corporate world.
Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. I think it's good to be open to more things, right? Rather than being closed off to opportunities. That's great.
Of course.
Yeah. So
the opportunities. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now, I was just saying, with the kind of opportunities that you come, like I've actively looking for job options on LinkedIn and Indeed, and with the ask that you come across in the job descriptions, it's unique, it's different for different roles. So yes, like it will be great if I get to learn something new.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would just say, it's more of a comment than a question, but with BC Transit, we often will say that you need a certain amount of qualifications or a certain education, but if you have a combination of those things, yes. I would really just try to outline that in your cover letter, and just let us know sort of what you're looking for, and be really clear and concise. And I think that's probably the best way to kind of get your foot in the door. I don't personally recruit for IT roles, but I'd be happy to put you in touch with our IT recruiter. If you would like, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I put my LinkedIn in the chat there. So
Sure. Thank you so much, Jess.
Yeah.
Well, I will definitely send you the invite to not you, Jess, but of course the other two as well. So yeah.
sounds great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I
Oh,
would
go
like
ahead.
to add to that is I think you also have to be open to take different positions of obviously aligned to what your career goals are, but don't look for that perfect position. Especially new immigrants to Canada, you need that experience. I'm an immigrant. I came a long time ago, but I am an immigrant. I went through that same experience where you do need that Canadian experience. But once you come to a company like BC Transit or ICBC, there are a lot of opportunities that you might not be a project manager right off the bat, but you might be able to go through the process internally, and it's much easier that way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
even like
yes, it
starting as
does.
a coordinator or something would be great for you, like just to kind
Mm.
of work your way up, and yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So in fact, I would like to add, like, I have worked with TransLink and Metro Vancouver. It was for a short duration, for a month or so, like through Angus One, through these consultancy firms, and I get these positions on contract. So I did get the opportunity to work with the ground companies. So yeah, it's a good experience and it's nice. Yeah. See, jobs is something that, and as what I'm sorry, I just missed his name. But with what he just advised right now, like being an immigrant and new to Canada, you have to be open with multiple roles. Yes, I am open to those roles, but at the same time, I'm also actively applying for the roles and experience that I come with. So yeah, I'm like just open with all the roles that we come.
Great pitch, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being brave and pitching yourself today. I'm just going to move over to our last pitch candidate, which is Jeffrey, who's in data science and from Vancouver. So Jeffrey, feel free to turn on your camera if you don't have it on already and unmute yourself, and we're looking forward to hearing your pitch.
Hi everyone. Sorry, unfortunately, I don't have a webcam currently. I'm on my PC, so which is why I posted sort of I guess a profile picture of myself just to, I guess, make sure I am a person, just to verify that. So I guess I'll get started with my pitch. So I come from a background of cancer genomics. Previously had no coding background. I was very interested in sort of whole genome sequencing. Again, then got really into sort of the computational aspect because essentially there was a lot of compute power requirements. During my university years, it was a lot of theory, but less application. So now there is with HPC, data science, that big data, cloud engineering and stuff like that. There's a lot of a big boom in that area. So I got really into that when I was once I graduated. So I sort of experimented around, went into grad studies for 2.5 years, and was found myself sort of in biotech with bioinformatics and computational biology. Didn't found out that I didn't really like certain projects, but was still very interested in data science. So sort of shifted a little bit. There were a lot of interesting problems I noticed in industry, and ended up working in an aviation company for 8 months. Which was very which was very interesting. However, I think the infrastructure there, as Simon had mentioned, with a lot of um, sort of companies, they're moving into the cloud area, and there are a lot of legacy data systems. So I do find there's a lot of opportunity with that, but it's just having the right infrastructure. So my team, I was the first hire in the data team. So it was me and my manager. So it was definitely a lot of exposure. However, I just found that it was a little bit unfortunate because some of the estimations with timing and just the overall sort of lack of personnel in the team led to a lot of sort of I guess delays and unfortunate sort of events. So because there wasn't that much in terms of there were a lot of recognition in sort of what we can provide. It was just, it ended up becoming this thing where we tried to estimate the time and then we couldn't produce the results that upper management had wanted. And so, of course, with all of that, it takes time. And so I'm going back into sort of the I guess the job market, looking for sort of a better support structure for teams. And Simon had mentioned as well that ICBC has a really great infrastructure. It seemed there were data engineers and data analysts and all of that. So really looking forward to sort of joining a team that has like a well laid out structure.
Great pitch, Jeffrey. I've got a follow-up question for you, and maybe Mahfuza has also got a follow-up question for you. So
Yes.
my follow-up question is, what is a project that you worked on that you're like the most proud of?
I would say that it would be my recent grad studies project. I was sort of involved in a fairly big project which involved classification of diffuse large B-cell lymphomas, which is a type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So after some collaboration, I was able to be part of a middle authorship in a National Institute of Health publication. So I thought that was a pretty big deal.
Wow, well done. Yeah, that's very exciting. Maybe Mahfuza, you've got another follow-up question for Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, first of all, that was a really, really amazing pitch. And I was actually listening to you and the kind of experience you had and the kind of projects you did. And I was actually going through the current postings that we have open. And actually, I have posted one on the chat. We do have a couple of data engineer, junior and intermediate positions. Why don't you take a look? And if you feel like it and if the role interests you, why don't you apply? Because the kind of experience you have, big data, agile, we look for those kind of skill sets. So I think that can be a match.
Great.
Very exciting, very cool. Well, great pitch, Jeffrey. Thank you so much. And so for our pitch candidates today, Rebecca, Jeffrey, and Nitin, keep an eye on your email inbox for an email from BC Jobs inviting you to a 30-minute resume consultation. So well done on pitching yourselves today. And now we'll just open up the floor to general questions. So for those of you who have seen the raise hand icon, if you want to raise your hand, at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a little tab that says reactions with a little smiley face. And if you just click on that, you'll see that there is a raise hand option under that. Oh, now it's not showing on mine. Recognize hand gestures. Okay, yeah, you can do it from there because I'm on the web version. Usually it will show that in the app as well. If you can't for some reason talk on screen, you can also type your question into the chat and just let me know and I can read your question out to the speakers. If you have questions for a specific panelist today, just let them know, or if your question's just kind of open-ended for all three of them, let them know as well, so that they can all chip in. So I see we've got questions already coming in. I'm just going to double check the chat here because I see Sylvia, you've got your hand raised, so just hang on one second. I'm just double checking that I didn't miss anyone in the chat here. I see that there is a question from, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Sad. Sad, if you're still here, do you want to jump on and ask your cover letter question to our panelists?
Oh, actually, I have a different question now. So let me ask a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I see most of the people like in this call, they're like master level students or like grads, like 5-10 years of experience in like data science. So like, do you, so ICBC or BC Transit, so do you have positions for like people in like 2 or 3 years in like an analyst role in like data science, Power BI, Excel, or visualization?
Jess, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can definitely speak to this. I mean, I am not technological at all. I will say that. To be honest, I don't even know what some of the programs are, that some of the words that were said today, but
me too.
Yeah, I don't typically recruit for that area. That's not my forte. But we definitely do have more junior level positions where I would say probably the threshold is about 2 to 5 years of experience. If I'm being honest, there's definitely some more senior level positions out there. But to just get your foot in the door, there's definitely positions within those 2 to 3 to 5 years of experience. And like I mentioned before, even if you don't have, say 2 to 3 years of experience, maybe you have other courses that can go towards that equivalency of being considered for that position. So I would definitely still encourage you to apply, even if you don't feel like you're at that level, because you never know what the quality of candidates are, and maybe something about your resume or your cover letter really sticks out. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yep, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I can add to that as well. ICBC, I would say we have a very good track record of hiring new graduates. We do have a very good core program, like Mahfuza said. We have also an internship program. So those positions are usually, we don't expect a lot of experience. If anything, we don't even expect experience. Just being exposed to university and all the tools that you mentioned, Power BI, Tableau, data analytics, SQL, just having that exposure can lead you to having that junior role. And then once you get into that role, the sky's the limit.
So do you have any rotation programs where you work with like different teams? I think it's like an internship, or like I'm out of school, so I don't know if I'm eligible for applying for internship.
You are. Internship doesn't require you to be actively in school. You could be just a new graduate, or you're just about to graduate. Like you have maybe one more term to graduate. The core, on the other hand, requires you to be in a core program at the university or institution you're at.
Sounds good.
Mahfuza, do you want to add to that? Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't actually. You covered it really well. But yeah, I would encourage Sad you to apply, because as to Simon's point, we kind of encourage, and while I was introducing myself, I did mention that and Simon is part of the DM, or I'm so used to using acronyms, so data management or the information management team, and we have seen so many success stories where we got candidates, they came, worked with us as co-ops for 6 months, and they went back, completed their school, and came back for a permanent position. We have hired interns and then later converted them permanent full-time with us, because what this co-op and internship role does is it gives you that industry exposure. You get to see how ICBC works, how the teams work, what kind of tools, technologies do we use, and then later that kind of adds along with the course and your university, and it kind of makes you eligible to apply for this firm roles. And after, of course, an interview, if you are successful, we do offer the permanent position. So please do apply if you want to gain that industry experience. To Simon's point, when we are hiring for co-ops and interns, we necessarily do not look for 3 years of experience or 1 year of experience. As long as you kind of like, as you mentioned, the kind of tools or the technologies, that is more than enough for us to give you this opportunity to come work with us.
Fantastic. I hope that answers your question, Sag. Great question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Perfect. And our next question is from Sylvia. Oh, your video disappeared. Oh, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for providing us this insightful information. So what a lot of people probably don't know, I think this question is probably most relevant for Simon and Mahfuza, but ICBC, they also cover medical treatment and return to work planning for claimants. And I know this because I'm a kinesiologist and I'm transitioning into data science after completing a data science program recently. And over my career as a kinesiologist, I know that ICBC has been increasing their coverage for kinesiologist services, which I'm really happy about. So I assume people are looking at the data related to that and seeing that kinesiologists are having a positive impact. So can you talk about the data analytics relating to healthcare, and who do you consult for their domain expertise in healthcare to know exactly what questions to ask and to make sense of the data?
Yeah, amazing. So yeah, you have a very good background, having worked in that space and then also going to the data science. I think it's a very good combination for you. Yeah, with ICBC, we do have different analytics teams. Hopefully my mic is okay. Yeah, we do have different analytics teams. So we do supply analytics that actually mostly deals with our different suppliers. We do have a lot of suppliers. It could be repair shops, but also medical practitioners. So it could be physiologists, massage therapists, and all that. So we have a team that actually manages that creates analytics based on the supplier data. Even focusing mainly on medical, like you said. I don't know if I'm answering your question. What was your question again?
I guess, yeah, that does answer my question. Analytics people don't necessarily have that expertise in medical treatments. So I'm just wondering how you get that.
Yeah, so we are a little bit different from, let's say, if you worked for Vancouver Health, Coastal Health, or anything, where maybe they might need to understand, a lot of health related, I would say, domain to do analytics. Our analytics team mostly look at it as data, right? We are supporting our business to make sure that they are making efficiencies in different areas. So, for example, there could be higher costs being spent on, let's say, repair shops, that sort of thing. We don't go into the details of being more like, I can't find the right word for it, but somebody who actually analyzes data to a point where they are almost like in between a scientist and a data scientist or a data analyst. We do mostly, I would say, work towards helping our business to make efficiencies. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued because I guess sometimes, yeah, looking at the numbers is one thing, but like being able to ask the right question, because when you do data analysis, you have to formulate the question, and if you don't have, okay, I don't want to be super critical, but like I'm
yeah. So So we do have kind of a team, right? So we have the business SMEs who actually understand the business. They work closely with the data analyst, and in between there is also business systems analysts that can bridge the gap between technical teams and the business teams.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I wouldn't have thought about the supplier analytics. That's not a term I would have thought about. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's the term they use here, which is really weird because it's like, because we look at every stakeholder that we work with externally as a supplier, because they supply services to us. So it's not mostly like suppliers, you might call it in general. It's mostly the services that we provide or they provide to us to help our customers. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And in the end, looking at like the bottom line is the key thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question, Sylvia. Our next question is from, we're going to go Shalini, Parth, and then Yash. So Shalini, if you're here, feel free to pop on your camera and mic, and we're looking forward to your question, which I know has been answered a little bit by ICBC speakers already, but maybe Jessica can add on to it. Oh, I don't know if Shalini's still here. Okay, maybe not. I'll read the question out. So Shalina would like to know whether you guys have any opportunities for new graduates. So I know, at ICBC you mentioned you've got co-op programs, you've got internships. Are there anything similar at BC Transit?
Yeah, so we do have co-op programs as well, but similar to ICBC, you do have to be in school, so it has to be a first, second, or third year university student. But after you graduate, absolutely, I would say that majority of our roles are open for new grads for sure. A really great entry level position that we have is a CSR, which is a client services representative. So basically working in our call center, it's a really great opportunity to kind of get to know our business a little bit. And then from there, as we've talked about, there's so much internal movement and so many opportunities to move into different areas of whatever side of the business that you're interested in. So that would be my tip.
Awesome. Thanks for answering Shalini's question. And then we'll go over to Parth, who has their hand raised. So Parth, feel free to pop on your camera and mute yourself, and we're looking forward to your question.
Hi, thank you so much. This was last minute. I didn't plan for it, but then all of a sudden I just got this notification. I was like, I can't miss this. So, okay. So I'm Parth Vyas. I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan, and I'm just a little bit of background. Me and my family are currently planning to move to BC. My wife's actually originally from BC, and after we got married, we planned out to come down here. But then we both are in IT industry, and with kind of opportunities that we kind of see, we are looking to go back to BC and explore our future kind of thing over there. So for my experience, I'm a front-end dev. I've done expertise in Vue.js, React, and JavaScript. I'm on an intermediate level and currently working on an agile team to replace an existing banking application with the web application, and currently planning to looking towards moving over to BC. So I just wanted to ask a question around that and see what's how does it fit for somebody who is not from BC, and how can we how can we show up on our cover letters and resumes to the companies that are actually hiring in BC? And I'm willing to relocate and stuff like that. It's just a matter of how I can accommodate that and show up on my cover letters and resumes so that it can be easy for somebody to recognize that and help us find a job. So
really great question. And I've heard questions like this before about relocating. How do you stand out on a resume if your location is listed as somewhere else? So maybe I'll pass you over to Mahfuza to give some tips on how to apply to ICBC, and then maybe Jessica's got some tips as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for your question, Parth. When you were explaining your work experience, I was again going back to see the roles that we have available. So when we post a role, we have our locations and everything mentioned. We also mentioned we are a hybrid working organization. When you apply, first of all, like me or my colleagues or even our hiring managers, when they look at your resume, they do not restrict your experience or resume based on your location. We do look at the skill set that you bring to the table, and if your profile matches with the role we have, we obviously reach out to you, and then we go into more detailed and have like a quick phone screen interview with you where we ask you if you're interested to relocate, because we are a Crown corporation. So and you did mention that you and your wife, you're absolutely fine to relocate. So I don't think our screening process is dependent on the location the candidate is in, as long as the candidate is willing to relocate to BC. And obviously another way where you you can indicate your interest is in the cover letter, where you can let us know, or the hiring manager know, that though this is your current location, but this role is of interest to you and you are willing and to move closer to where ICBC wants you to work. So that is definitely not a issue or a reason to kind of discount or dismiss your profile. Obviously not. We do not do that. As far as your experience is concerned, we do have a developer intermediate as well as a developer senior position that we're currently hiring for, where we need people who have agile experiences, React and front end, even full stack developers. So please just go to ICBC.com and apply to those roles, because we will definitely reach out to you if your skill set matches, and I can promise you that location will not be a problem.
Oh, that's really great to know. Thank you for sharing that, Mahfuza. And I'll just pass you over to Jessica here, because maybe Jessica's got some similar tips.
Yeah, Mahfuza really covered it. Even just for our organization, I feel like we are getting more and more open to, that hybrid environment for most of our roles. And we do get a ton of applicants from throughout Canada that want to move to Victoria because it's so beautiful. I don't blame them. But we're very, very open to that. Definitely doesn't impact your being screened in for a competition. And like Mahfuza said, we would have that like pre-screening call with you. Just make sure that you're aware that this position is, you do need to be based in Victoria. And sometimes we can be flexible on those dates and things like that, right? And work with you in terms of when you're able to get there. Because I know moving to a different province is not easy, especially that far away. So it takes time, right, to uproot everything and be able to get over there. So and then one thing too, I will mention with BC Transit, we do have screening questions typically when you're coming in to apply for a position, and just be super clear on that you are looking to or open to relocate for the position.
Okay. Yeah, like I mean, apart from like BC, BC is actually my favorite place for vacations. I've visited every year, like before I got married, for like I think 6 years straight, and I love that place. But besides that, like I kind of like the biggest thing that I kind of run into is like the lack of opportunities that we kind of have in Saskatchewan, that like especially in the IT industry, like like things are coming along, but it's super slow, and we've kind of like there is some other healthcare conditions as well that we kind of we are planning around that to see if we can have like a better future for my son and and stuff like that. So okay, no, I'll thank you so much for those answers. I'll actually reach out to you guys if you don't mind, like on LinkedIn, if you're okay, and I'll continue to look up for any opportunities on ICBC sites and BC Transit as well. Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Fehr. All right, we've got one other question in the chat here from Yash. Yash, you're welcome to jump on screen and ask your question to our panelists.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so you guys already asked my question because I didn't have any experience in any kind of field, and I graduated. It's been 6 months, and I'm looking to get any position or training or internship. But you guys already asked, like applying internship or just a starting level job, so I can start my career in the company or big company, right? So yeah, thank you.
Okay, so they've answered your question already.
Yes.
Can I just follow up the question
Sure.
to Yash? What area are you in? Like, what interests you? Like, what sort of profiles are you looking for?
So I study the business management, and like during my study, I study accounting, finance, HR management, and marketing stuff, and many other subjects. And I'm looking for in specifically HR or finance subjects. And I have actually applied in Translate, HR assistant, HR junior, but it's hard to get a jobs in that. And it's been like 6 months. I'm waiting for like any opportunity if I get, but it's like so difficult right now because of the the job market right now. So yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, good luck with the job hunt, Yash. All right, do we have any other questions? I think we have time for maybe two more questions today before we start to wrap up. Okay, Sad, you've got a question. Perfect.
Yeah, just a follow-up question. So for like a entry level or the positions with like 3, 4, 2 years of experience, do you require a lot of coding knowledge for like an analyst or a business analyst role? Or if you have no code knowledge, like using tools knowledge, that's also sufficient for like a business analyst or analyst role?
Good question. Maybe I'll pass you over to Mahfuza. Maybe you've got some tips.
We actually don't. When we hire for junior roles like a business system analyst, we do expect you to bring some experience, but that can, even when we post it, we do post it about 1 to 3 years of experience. So the junior roles, at the junior roles, we don't expect you to be an expert. We definitely expect you to understand what a BSA does, what a business system analyst does, that you have at least 1 to 2 years of experience, so that, obviously you will slowly but gradually learn when you move into a new organization. There are different nuances that you have to pick up. But in terms of technology, we do not expect you to have exposure and multiple projects that you have to be a part of. So anything between 1 to 2 or even like 1 to 3 is what we look for. And we are pretty flexible when it comes to the skill sets when we hire for junior roles. Simon, I don't know if you want to chime in and add in if I've missed out on anything.
No, you covered everything. I think, like you said, it's really key to, as an analyst, we don't expect you to have programming language experience. Yeah, it's good to know Python because it's one of the most popular languages, but it's not a requirement. I think even knowing specific tools, we don't tie you to know Tableau, although we use Tableau, but we know that data analytics is an art, right? Regardless of what tool you use, you should be able to transition from tool to tool very easily. So your Power BI experience will be easily transferable into Tableau if you joined ICBC. So yeah, we don't have any preference in terms of saying we prefer somebody with programming background. No.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
And Jessica, did you have anything to add? I know you're not really in the IT space at BC Transit, but
I'm not. I was actually just, as you guys were talking, I was just looking at one of our job descriptions, just out of curiosity of what we asked for, and we definitely were looking for Power BI. That's a huge asset to have. And I think anything that you can show that experience that you have worked as an analyst, that you are a visual person. So one tip that I would have is to kind of create a little portfolio for yourself of some of the projects that you've done, because I know that will come up if you are shortlisted, in any of our competitions, just to be able to show that visual little snip of, this is this project that I worked on. These are the analytics that I did for this project. I think that that's really a good thing to kind of put together.
Fantastic. All right, thank you for your question, Sad. And I believe our last question today is from Anastasia. Anastasia, you're free to pop your mic on and ask your question, which I think your question is probably more suited to Simon.
Yes, hi. Yeah, I'm interested in junior data engineer position at ICBC, and I'm wondering which cloud service providers ICBC use for their storages. And is it necessary to have a certificate at the applying stage for junior positions, or just good to have?
Yeah, thanks, Anastasia. That's actually a very excellent question there. So first of all, yeah, you don't have to have any certifications. Just having the experience or exposure to, because you're applying for a data engineer. I don't know, the screen is frozen. Is it me or?
No, you're good.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm good. Okay,
we can see you.
Yeah, so you actually, as a data engineer, you do require background in programming. That's one of the requirements as a data engineer. You need to have a programming language, whether it's C++, Python, Java, any object-oriented programming would do. And then your question to the platform that we use, currently, like I said in the intro, we are on-prem. So we have our own big data cluster. It's based on MapR Hadoop. So we host our own, we host the data on our data center. Obviously, we are a huge company with a lot of systems. Migration cloud would be a very long process. And in fact, I don't even think that would be 100% cloud. That doesn't really, I don't see that happening. So it would be more like a hybrid cloud, that sort of thing. As far as which provider we will be going with, I can't share that information because it's going to be through an RFP. As a public company, we need to go through that. So we haven't really, we are not aligned with any provider right now. But as I said, we are on-prem. Everything that we host in terms of analytics and data is all on-prem.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great. Last question. And I just want to say a big thank you to our job candidates today for your very interesting and amazing questions and incredible pitches. So thank you so much. As I start to wrap up this panel, I'm just going to hand over the virtual mic to Jessica, then Mahfuza, then Simon to add any last remarks. Maybe there's some words of advice or tips, a joke or two. Feel free to add your last thoughts for today's panel. It could be interview tips or cover letter information. So we'll start with Jessica and then Mahfuza and then Simon.
Yeah, for sure. Put me on the spot with the jokes. I'm like, ooh, do I have any? Awesome. Well, yeah, I would just like to say thanks everybody for coming today. It was great to hear about your experience and backgrounds, and I hope to see some of your resumes come through our website. And in terms of words of advice, I would really just say with our interviews, we are looking for it to be a two-way street. So it's not just us, asking you questions. We really want you to be curious and ask questions like you're doing here today, and just be really authentic and show that you're passionate about what you do. And I think that will really shine through, and try not to do too much of the textbook robotic answers, and really just be kind of genuine and authentic. And I think that'll go a long way. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jessica. Over to Mahfuza for some words of wisdom.
Thank you so much, everyone, for making the time. Honestly, this was a great session. Thank you so much for all the wonderful questions. Word of advice I would say is sometimes, and I know we were candidates at some point in our life, when we read through a job description and there are a lot of things that are mentioned, we need this, that, A, B, C, D, E, and if you think you only have A, B, C and you don't have D and E, and you don't apply to that position, do not do that. Please apply, because you don't know what kind of profiles are we getting, and how are they in terms of quality versus you. So whenever you see that there is a job that interests you and you have at least 40-50% of the skill set, please apply. What is the worst that can happen? You may not hear from the particular employer, but then what if you do? What if the employer actually engages with you? You never know. They might say, oh, you applied for an X role, but hey, I think you will be a fit for Y. And that can lead to a different career path altogether for you. So never be discouraged. Please go ahead and put forward your resume. And I look forward to connecting with you all on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Mahfuza. Those are some really great tips. So thank you so much. And last but not least, I'll let Simon share some tips or some words of wisdom.
Yeah, I would say also thank you for everyone for joining this session. Actually, one of my favorite sessions I've had. Actually, you guys are very engaged, and I see a lot of people, joining. So it's great. I've done hiring at ICBC for quite a long time. In fact, I was involved in starting off the core program in ISD. So over the years, I've actually seen a theme and trend in terms of how candidates apply. One of my first thing I would advise you, as Mahfuza said, first of all, cover letter is important. I know a lot of people think that cover letter, nobody reads it. we read it. That's where you show your personality. A resume will just mostly show experience in your education, but how do you define yourself? You can put that in your cover letter, talk about certain things that you are really excited on and projects that you worked on, and what excited you about that project, that sort of thing, because that makes you stand out, right? The other thing I would like to say, we get a lot of resumes, for me at least. I find it very hard to open Word documents. I'm not saying that's a disqualifier, but it just more, if you PDF your resumes, it's very easy for the the interviewer or even the person who's reviewing a resume to actually process it, right? Rather than, you might have incompatibility issues. My version of Word might be different from yours. So just PDF your resumes is just much easier. As I said earlier, be open to different positions. Don't look for that ideal role. It's not always there. I mean, you might be able to join a company in a different role, but like ICBC, we have what we call expression of interest. You can join ICBC and try out something in another department. It might be a department that you've been looking forward to, like if you entered, like in my department, we do data analytics, but maybe your goal is to be a data scientist. Now we work with this data science department. We can send you there for an expression of interest. You work there for 6 months. And then if there's an opportunity there or they like you, they might actually hire you permanently. So don't look for that ideal role. Obviously, if it's there, that's fine. And the last one, for those that are interested in data, I would say one of 2 skills that you need, honestly, are databases and SQL. Everything else you can learn on the job. Yeah.
Fantastic tips, Simon. Thank you so much. I just wanted to say it was an absolute pleasure to have you 3 on the panel today. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your super busy schedules to join us. And if anyone is looking for work or new opportunities, check out ICBC's and BC Transit's hiring pages. There's links in the chat, so you can scroll back in the chat and grab those links. We have one other panel coming up next month on April 18th with speakers from UBC Sauder, CIBC, BC Assessment, and Interior Health. You can find our events at BCJobs.ca/events to register. And lastly, you can always shoot me an email with any questions to events@BCJobs.ca. So if you want to know more about who's hiring the industry, want some insider information, you can reach out to me. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. So thank you again for joining us today. Those were some amazing pitches. We had lots of really interesting questions. So good luck with the job hunt out there, and maybe we'll see you next month on our next panel. Take care, everyone. Have a great week, and good luck.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice to meet you. Take care.